Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to our CKAN Monthly Live number 30. This one is very special because it's a bit twisted in terms of format. We've never had multiple sessions so far since the very beginning. Now we have CKAN Extensions Demo Day, and basically developers will present extensions that they've been working on. My co-host for today will be Adria, as I mentioned several times. He will be helping introducing the developers, tracking time. So in terms of housekeeping items, I can say just two things. So I'll drop a link to the meeting notes document after my introduction. As you know, it's our single source of truth document. You can find all the relevant links there. In terms of Q&A, so the format today will be, we have 6 speakers. They will have 10 minutes each approximately. They will have to present and do a live demo of the extension. And then in these 10 minutes, we'll have to do a Q&A. So after each demo presentation, basically you have the opportunity to ask a question. You can do that by either raising your hand and go ahead or dropping your questions in the chat. I will not continue with my introduction now. Let's start with the first speaker, which will be Oleksandr.
Can you see my screen? I'm showing the presentation right now.
Yeah, we see it.
Yes.
Okay, so I wasn't really sure about how I'm going to present the extension. I was thinking about the live demo, and we also did a presentation, and we plan to show more extensions, but as we don't have much time, I just picked one to show. And this plugin I'm going to talk about is quite simple in terms what it does, and so I won't need much time to explain it. Some of our clients need the ability to preview different file formats such as, I don't know, PDF documents, doc documents, Excel files, etc., and archives as well. So previously we used ckanext zip preview, and which has now become quite outdated both in terms of UI and code. It wasn't updated for a while, and plus it supports only a single archive format, zip. So to address this issue, the ckanext-unfold was developed, and here you can see the presentation right now. So what is it for? It is a plugin that do only one thing. It creates a preview for different archive formats, such as RAR, 7Z, zip, and many other formats. And I can share the link to the GitHub repository. And there is described all the file formats that we support. Its features, so basically it's the same that will be in presentation, but if someone will want to read about it, there are some extra information for developers, dependencies, etc. The usage is pretty simple. So you install the extension, you enable it, and if it supports the resource format, the preview will be generated automatically. So this is an example of how the preview looks. Also, I have a data set that have already multiple resources of different formats. If you can see here, for example, this is an archive protected with password. It's also one of the features because RAR archives support a password protection, so you can do it as well. It looks like a file tree. You can sort things. You can see that we have an access to the file name, file size, type. It can be a file or folder. You can see the format and modify date. So basically, I'm not sure about the usage of different formats. I just wanted to show that it's pretty easy to add a support to a different file formats, while the most usable, obviously, are zip and RAR, probably maybe 7Z format. Others that was created are just to show that it's pretty easy to add another file format. It is required because it was written in a way that is quite easy to extend this plugin. And you can see that it is a file tree, so we can fold and unfold things. We can use some kind of search. I'm not sure about what is inside this file. Yeah, we have a main Java file. For example, this format is used for image files, CBR, and this is an example of a big file with a large structure, something like this year. So we can search by it, we can clear. Also, it caches the structure. We are not like the structure by itself isn't very big, because if zip archive will be like a few gigabytes, the structure still will be just a few kilobytes, I don't know, 50 kilobytes, because we don't need to store all the information. We just store the metadata and the file structure in the tree view. So here I have the Redis, and you can see that all the archives I have visited are cached right now. And I don't know, for example, if I will take this and write memory usage, we will see that it isn't very big. I guess it's 24 kilobytes. It's probably the last one. I'm not sure. So this is how it looks. Features, I've mentioned a few already. For example, it's a file tree. We support many different file formats, archive formats. Password protection for RAR archives. We cache the data to easy access, so we don't spend much time when we initialize the tree next time. It's anyway, it's pretty fast even for the first time, but cache makes everything better, I guess. And also, we have a file and folder search. I showed it also. This is about the columns we have. We support both local and remote files. I didn't create a resource to show the remote file support, but it is here. And doesn't really matter how big the archive, because I don't know, we just need the file structure. Many archive formats are really convenient to work with, and for example, zip files store the structure and a few, I don't know, few bytes at the beginning of the file, and you can read it without reading the whole file. And yeah, that's it about the features. So how it works, I'm not sure. It's really interesting. So basically, you see when you open the resource, you see that something's flashing and says that the archive tree is being initialized. We are accessing the backend with an AJAX request, and then we pull the information from it either from cache or from real-time data if it's first access. And we basically cache it for, I don't know, 1 hour probably. And we also invalidate the cache if the resource will be updated. For example, if it's a local resource, we need to ensure that we are uploading a new files, and we invalidate the cache to not show the same structure. And if it's a remote file, if the URL has been changed, we will also invalidate it right now. Invalidation means that we will drop the cache and replace it with new data to ensure that we are showing the latest changes. So this is what I was talking about right now. Cache, cache, cache. We use Redis. Pretty simple. So do you have any questions to me or about this extension? Maybe I missed something. Maybe something wasn't really clear. Maybe I was talking too quick, too fast. I'm not sure. I was. Did you really hear me? Maybe you were so shy that you didn't want to interrupt me.
No, it's cool. It's cool, Oleksandr. It's a very basic and awesome extension. So it's something that a lot of folks use. So it's very
I do have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
The search is within the resource, not through the whole catalog. It's not in the Solr index, right?
No, it is searched by the file structure we parsed from the archive. And we use some kind of free third-party JS library to visualize the tree. So basically, search is a part of this.
Thank you.
But does it mean that theoretically it's possible to maybe extract a function that allow you to index file structure as inside Solr?
Yes, it's possible. I guess we have an extension to index text data. And while it's possible, I'm not sure if someone will request it, we can do something like that. But for now, we just didn't do it. But I guess it's possible. And maybe if the some kind of portal, open data portal, will have a lot of archives, and they will want to allow user to search and find the exact file that is in this resource, yeah, we can do it. It's pretty easy to implement, I guess.
Okay. Are you looking for certain outcomes? Like, do you need something related to this extension, like collaborators, contributors, or yeah, people to see the extension in different contexts or something? Is there?
So first of all,
something
we would like anyone who is interested to use it in the production environment, even not production, to test it, to find something. If something wrong with it, if you would like something to add, you can contribute to it, obviously, as to any other extension from the Rick Digital that is public. And you can also request a feature. If you don't know how to contribute, you can create an issue of some kind and just cooperate at any level that you can. Basically, if we want as many people as possible to use it, so we can know if it's really I don't know how to say it, if it's really closes the requirements of the end client, because we are using it right now on few of our portals, and I didn't hear about any concerns yet, but if there will be, it's easier to track if someone else will use it.
Okay, thank you. Adria signaled 1 minute warning, and I think we are over. So let's go to the next one. Who's next, Adria?
Looks like you are on mute. I don't hear you.
Can you?
Our next presenter is Andrés Vázquez.
Thank you. Okay, let me share my screen. I don't have a lot to share in the screen, but it will be better than my face. I am Andrés Vázquez. I am part of the technical team of the Open Knowledge Foundation. I am based in Argentina, in South America, and I will present an extension called push-errors. Let me start from the beginning. Some time ago, we discovered that some users were getting 500 errors in some CKAN instances, and end users sometimes do not have a direct connection with you as a developer. Sometimes they don't say anything because they are not doing something really urgent. So sometimes 500 error get logs. And we want to work on that. With this started, we were working with Amazon, and we realized that there is no easy way to send you a direct message with the details of the error using Amazon, also with Azure. It looks like they are some option, but they are really complex, and it changed from a cloud provider to another. Also, CKAN includes some nice feature for sending emails, but it was not enough for what we are trying to achieve. So we starting at the first version, we started with an internal feature in the client extension, and now we are opening as a public extension. What we are doing is to overriding or using the CKAN core features to allow you to handle unhandled errors, and we are using it to allow user to post a full message with this error to any URL with custom headers and custom data. And we are using it right now through Slack, but eventually this extension will be able to run with any other notification or messaging provider. This extension allows us to detect a lot of errors that were happening, sometimes due to error in our extension or in CKAN core. And we realized that a lot of things are going on, and we now can realize and fix a lot of things that we did not know about it. And we also discovered that we can add a new handle for internal Python logger. So we define that all logger at the critical level will be sent as a notification. And we found this really, really useful because in general, we don't use the critical level of the Python logging. At least we don't use it a lot. And now in any extension in your CKAN instance, you can add a critical log message, and it will be sent to you, in our case, to Slack, but you can use this with any other. You can post a request to any URL, and you can also use, we have like some, you can use, I don't get the word. You can use variables that are already in your project as as part of the message, the CKAN version, the push error version, the site URL, and other things, and this will be probably increase it and reuse it. And we can also add in this extension the ability to add an internal command to write or push these notifications, and we use it at the entry point of our CKAN instances. So for example, I don't know if you are aware, but for example, Amazon, if you use the Elastic Container Services, if they need to drop your instance, they do it and start a new one, and you usually don't realize about it. But if you add a message in your entry point or the script that you use to start CKAN to send you a notification message each time CKAN start, you will know every time that your cloud provider is restarting your instance. So with this, we realized that we can be aware of what is happening with your CKAN instance. So sometimes you don't have, we right now are working with a project in which we don't have any access to the client infrastructure. So this extension was really useful because we get really valuable information about what is happening with your CKAN instance. Our next step are to ensure that we will never, because when you talk about notification, you always be worried about getting a lot of notification. This is not happening because we really get error message with something really important happen. For example, a CKAN 500 error, we handle it, or a critical log level. But even so, we are working to ensure that we do not send more notification that we expect. The extension is really new. We are using it in 3 different projects, and we are really happy with this extension. Thank you for sharing the URL in the chat. I think from my side, that's it. I am open to question or comments.
Thank you, Andrés. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry about before. Thank you very much, Andrés. Any questions from anybody?
I had a question. Thank you, Andrés, or kind of 2. If I understand correct, do full stack traces get included in those logs to Slack?
Yes, this is a good question. Not the full, the last, I think, 4,000 lines, because we sometimes get really high, but you can is not part of the setting, but eventually it will be nice to define a setting of which size of the full trace you want to get. But yes, you are getting it, and I think it's the most valuable part of this extension.
Cool. A follow-up to that is it in scope for the extension at all to do like scrubbing, like if there's sensitive stuff in the logs, making sure that that sensitive stuff doesn't go out to like Slack or maybe another question is there a way to configure it so that like the full stack doesn't go out and we just get a ping that like, hey, some error happened. Should probably look into it.
Right now you cannot set up this. You will need to change the code or send us a PR. I think it will be good to allow user to say, okay, I want to get something, I want to know something happened, but I don't want to get all this private information shared. I don't think on that, Jamie, but this will be a very good contribution for the extension.
Cool. Thanks so much. This sounds super helpful.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a minute left for any last burning question from anybody. I have a really quick one, Andrés. Is there a way to filter out known errors that you know they're happening and you will fix eventually, but you don't want them notified?
No, there is no way. And I think this way is the only way in which you will eventually fix it. But yes, it will be good to add something with that. It's really difficult to identify an error. It will be really good because I would love to count how many of this error in this line is happening. We need to work on that.
Cool. Fair enough about fixing the error. Okay, thank you very much, Andrés. That was great. Let's jump to the next presenter, which is Joel Natividad. You ready, Joel? Hello, Joel.
Yes, I'm ready, and I'm sharing my screen. Thank you. I'll try to go through this quickly because we have a lot of material to cover. So let's go. So you've heard about datapusher-plus. I had a CKAN Monthly live last March, but we're going to do a preview of what we're calling the draft. And it's all about how to handle data quality or the lack of it. And just to quickly recap, we've been on this journey to really make CKAN a comprehensive knowledge archive. So we know the old data pusher that's been deprecated. We commissioned Xloader in 2016. And then in 2020, we built QSV. We started a project with Texas. And from there, was born datapusher-plus. And we've been iterating on it since then. And last year, CKAN service provider was deprecated. So we made datapusher-plus a full-fledged regular extension. And we also iterated on QSV. So now we're going, so if that was 3.5, generation 3.5, we're now on the current generation. So since last year, like I mentioned, there have been a lot of changes. Apart from CKAN service provider being deprecated and migrating to a regular extension, we are now really focusing on metadata. In light particularly of the DCAT 3 spec, but here in the US, we're tracking DCAT US 3, but in general, DCAT 3 spec. And also here in the US, there's the Evidence Act, and there's guidance on how to implement DCAT 3 that was just published the week before inauguration. So I don't need to dwell in about the inauguration and what happened after that, but we're still on track to hopefully implement that in the next few months. And yeah, we made a lot of upgrades to QSV as well. And when datapusher-plus was launched, it was at the 0.x version, but now it's in the version 3. So what is the draft? It basically stands for Data Resource Upload First. It's the 4th generation. It's more than just data ingestion. It's about suggesting metadata, or what we've been calling automagical metadata. It was based on the requirements of Texas, but we're open sourcing it and generalizing it so everybody can benefit from it. We collaborated with Ian, and we have a lot of changes that we're doing in scheming as well. So you can have multi-part forms. You can have what I'm calling different suggestions at different levels. So it took us a while, but we adopted Jinja 2 as our domain-specific language. We are all familiar with Jinja 2, at least people who deal with CKAN under the hood. That's how we do the templates in CKAN. But it turns out Jinja 2 is also a great DSL for doing calculations after you ingest the data. So we have 3 kinds of calculations or suggestions. So there's the static one, the entry time suggestions, and hopefully over time we'll have helper libraries that people can share with each other, and like almost like Excel formulas. Okay, so today I'll be previewing the static suggestion, and here's a quick demo. Let me see if I can. So this is a virtual machine. Can you see my virtual machine?
Yes, we can see the CKAN instance.
Okay, great. So here's a draft demo. So let me add another resource. Well, before I go to this demo, let me show you what we did with scheme. So right now, we're just extended the regular reference dataset YAML file for the dataset scheming YAML. And you will see in the resource field here, we added this field called spatial extent, right? And you can see we have a new directive here that says suggest Jinja 2. And here we have your typical Jinja 2 snippet. If you're familiar with Jinja 2 syntax, basically here we're creating a spatial extent WKT well-known text polygon. And we have some heuristics that recognizes, oh, this is latitude, and get the statistics for latitude and give me the minimum value. And for the longitude column, look at the statistics and give me the minimum value. And basically here I'm drawing a polygon of the data set as derived from the CSV you just uploaded. So it will infer as a suggestion to the spatial extent what the spatial extent is as dictated by the data. So you don't have to type it in. Okay, so let me add that now. So let's see, let me put in winter. Add. And if you could see the data store. It's pretty quick. People who have been using datapusher-plus, under the hood, it uses QSV, and which is written in Rust multi-threaded, so it's very quick. And as you can see here, I turned on some debugging messages, but it evaluated that Jinja 2 template for this field spatial extent. And if I look at the metadata, as you can see here, the resource has been pre-filled, right, with what the inferred metadata for that spatial extent. So this is the static expression. Can you still see? Oh, sorry. So yeah, so that's the quick demo I have. Let me actually show my other stuff. So yeah, that's a quick demo. Are there any questions so far?
Just a quick one, Joel. So the latitude and longitude values that you show on the Jinja template, are these the actual values on the data, like columns on the data?
Yeah, so for now, we have some simple heuristics because doing spatial extent is fairly common. So there, for now, you can either refer to the column names in your Jinja snippet, or there will be like special reserved names for like latitude and longitude, where you can do pattern matching. Say, you know, in some areas you have lat long, you have, you know, the different well-known text formats. So we have actually a helper that you can configure it to say these are the latitude longitude columns you should look for. And actually that's a good segue into entry time suggestions. So right now what I showed you is a static suggestion calculated and as incorporated in the scheming YAML file, right? But also we will also do entry time suggestions. And what that means is we will use Jinja 2 almost like the same way you do formulas in Excel. So right now the thinking we have is if you go to, say, a field and you put in like equal and then the name of a helper or a Jinja 2 expression, it will calculate it on you know, for you. And of course it will tell you if there's an error. So in that way, you know, the whole idea is to make it easier for curation for metadata entry. Okay, and I want to share some more things that we're doing quickly. So this is all being done for Texas. So we're doing all these water data innovations, all funded by our Texas work, and we'll be open sourcing it. Another thing we're doing is we're building a water data dashboard. We'll also share that. We actually have a blog post on that. And also another thing, Adria, this might interest you, and that's why I talk about spatial extent. As you may know, we're building a gazetteer. You know, the gazetteer will allow you to search on boundaries. Using this will be a whole new demonstration once it's launched, but it will be a better way of doing spatial extents. And just quickly now, since we're doing demo day, we're also for posts we're building extension catalog. As some of you may know, there used to be, and it's not maintained anymore, extensions at ckan.org. But now we're also building, using CKAN to catalog all the extensions. And one of the things that I want to show you is one thing that I didn't like about the extensions was the way the description was done of the extensions. It basically uses a README. So now we use AI to summarize the README so it becomes more predictable. And also all the metadata is stored in CKAN. And we integrated it with Discourse so people can talk about the extensions. Of course, you know, I think we touched on this, Adria. If there are questions about the development, that should go to GitHub, and we'll make that the best practice. But for not like regular users or people who are just casual users, maybe they can use Discourse. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. I think the ecosystem catalog warrants demo on itself another day, but
Yep.
Thanks for the taste. Thomas, you had your hand raised. Do you have like a quick question?
Yeah, a quick question. If you're dealing with CSV as input right away, when you do partial extensions and so on, I'm also ontology developer, and so on. Did you think about using vocabularies for just annotating all those tables and then actually find out if that is a partial extent, if it's a boundary or something?
Yeah, right now I look forward to maybe getting contributions. We're actually renaming datapusher-plus. We're calling it Autometa when we launch it next month. And one of the key things that I touched on is that helper library. And maybe one of the things that you can do in that helper library is, I don't know if you played with datapusher-plus, it compiles a lot of statistics about the data. And that's where you can do all the inferencing. And if, say, one thing that you want to do is use that metadata, say the frequency table, and cross-reference it with a controlled vocabulary so it can discover a tag.
I'm just
then we can use that.
Yeah, I'm just saying this because in my domain, material science and engineering, we have a lot of complicated CSV files, which are actually no CSV files, but they can be annotated, and then you actually know where's the table, what is a node, and so on. I have an extension for CKAN for this, so if we want to hook up kind of with doing something like this, so analyzing CSV files, segmenting them in the way and describing them semantically, that would be very interesting for me.
Would love to collaborate with you, Thomas. So yeah, let's do that, and maybe we can all connect through the extension catalog.
Sounds like a great match. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Joel, for that presentation. Let's quickly jump to the next speaker, which is Michael. Are you ready, Michael?
Yes. One second, just share here. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, so I'm Michael Polidori. I'm with Datopian. Been with them about 5 years, and I'm going to be demoing the CqueryTool extension. This exposes to the UI some Plotly chart creation, data tables creation, and leaflet maps. And let me share the repo here. Yeah, so included in this extension, there are some other UI changes, things like the homepage, just kind of the general flow. So it might not be for everyone. So the homepage here, this lists groups. And within the groups, we have reports. These are custom objects. They're the metadata for, I guess you would say, collections of visualizations for specific resources. So we have one report here. And so that flow here that I just went through, that's generally the public view. You come down to a report, you can take a look at the data. And then that's essentially all that the public users will be able to do. They can navigate through the groups, the reports, the visualizations. And then as far as admins, I can come over to the reports and then just give you an idea. So let me just open this here. So the top level metadata here for the report, again, the reports are a collection of visualizations. So this is the high level information about it, captions, an overall icon or image to be used. You assign it to a group, organization. Then you select a resource, a data set and a resource. So each report can only be associated with one data set and one resource. You can add, it'll pull up the measures from the data. You can give it optional labels and then add multiple filters. And then within each report, you can create the visualizations. So you have various types: chart, maps, text, just a plain text box, images, tables, and then line breaks. So in some cases, if a chart is a little too wide or something, you just want to have it on a new line, or you want to have some extra space, you can do that. And yeah, I'll try to. So we obviously haven't exposed all of the options. So right here, this is Plotly. We have these different types that we can set. So, all the common line, bar, pi, all those types. And then you can filter by dimension, and then optionally category. You can also do some string replacements in the title and additional description. We expose different types of color selection. So we have divergent or sequential. Some various x-axis options, an optional title, to start from 0 or not. Similar with the y-axis, label formats. You can set the width. So yeah, I mean, quite a few options here. But as I said, not everything is exposed in the UI. And we do, in the repo here, it's not a full guide, but it kind of gives an idea of how to customize things if needed, where those are located. We're pointing to the Viz preview. That's where a lot of the changes and customizations to Plotly would be, at least. And I had one other. Yeah, I didn't have a map on this portal. So this extension was created for Vital Strategies, but doesn't really have branding or anything. So it's, it can be used by others, and we love sharing. So if anyone finds this useful, feel free to fork it or contribute. And then, so the maps I have on a dev site here. I'm just trying to cover as much as I can. So for editing maps, it's kind of similar. We're not exposing every option, but you select the resource, you select the title, different keys, optional filters, and then, the public will see it on the public page like this. I mean, I feel like I'd spend a lot of time if I go any deeper than that. So I guess if anyone has questions, let me know.
Thanks, Michael. That looks incredible. There's a couple of questions on the chat. Patrick says, did you happen to have any accessibility issues with the Plotly library?
I mean, I would say it's not perfect. When you start getting deeper into accessibility within Plotly itself, there can be some issues there. So it's not, it's not perfect. I couldn't really give you an actual rating at the moment, but it's, there's a bit of a gap there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then Joel asks, when you share a Plotly graph, I assume, can it be shared as a static HTML?
So you can share as an iframe or a direct URL. That's about it. I mean, the iframe works pretty well. I think I can. I think it'll work in here. Yeah, it takes a minute to load. But I mean, that's the extent of the sharing. But it does, works pretty well. You can set the width and the height and then share it.
That's really cool. I have a quick question. So does the extension kind of filter the available visualizations depending on what kind of data do you have? So obviously, to display a map, you need some form of geometry or whatever, and to create graphs.
It's going to trust the user that's creating. We haven't really looked into filtering that yet. There's a very small group of people using the tool at the moment. So a lot of the direction we've gone in is kind of specific to that, vital strategies, and Luis and the work he's doing. But yeah, we're open to ideas and more flexibility.
Sure. And for the graphs, so data needs to be on the data store for those to be rendered?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's really cool. I think that's amazing, and I'm sure that a lot of people will definitely look into it. Thanks for sharing and sticking to the time. Well done.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next up, we have Jesse from Canada. Are you with us, Jesse?
Hello.
Okay,
go
the floor is yours.
Just do the entire screen. Might get a inception for 2 seconds. Yeah, so pretty simple plugin that we have going here. It just adds really simple citations to CKAN, the dataset and resource pages. So the citations being in all those citation formats. You know, in high school, they wanted you to cite everything. That might just be a better reference to me, who's closer to high school than other people here. And basically, it's great because there's an open source XML specification for citations. They have thousands and thousands of them. And then even better than that, there's an open source Python library that uses that open source specification and, you know, Python XML, and kind of parses that. So all that I did was use that Python library, which uses the open source specifications, to kind of just easily put it into CKAN. There was an older plugin for this that used the JavaScript library for the citation specifications. And it wasn't really kind of CKAN frameworkable. That makes sense. So this one kind of, what I did was use the Python library, made some interfaces for the plugin, and kind of baked it more into CKAN framework for kind of other people to extend and kind of map their fields to. So really simple, just adds a button to the dataset page. These screenshots are from Canada websites, so the theming is a bit different. And as you can see, I loaded a couple different citation styles in here. And then you can just kind of copy them as you need them. Resource citations is the same thing. Just with the metadata from the resource and the data set. So this is the custom mapping that you can do with the implementation of the plugin. By default, it's pretty simple. It just uses the default CKAN fields for data sets and resources. So that's kind of your data set title, resource name. I think author is also a core field. And then you have your date created and the resource URL, of course. This is an example of the one that I implemented for Canada site. So we have like a field for data sets, section name. We have your publishing organization and stuff like that. And then we have a bunch of different author fields in our data set. So you can see that at the front. There's creator, contributors, and then we have a scheming, repeating field for creditors. Yeah, I put Ian as second. You're a contributor, I guess, Ian, in this one. So the field mapping is pretty simple. didn't actually. I can show you how the field mapping's done in the implement. Sorry. Should have prepared this better. So yeah, all that I did in kind of our plugin was implement siteproc mappings, and then I just implement the dataset citation map, resource citation map, and then this is what I kind of needed to do to get our different fields that we have in Scheme to kind of just map them in here. The credit one was a bit different because it's a repeating field from Scheme, so it's a bit trickier. Fortunately, the open specification for citations also does locale stuff. So it has a lot of supported locales. So it was really nice to be able to get that. So we have to support French, of course, in Canada. So you can see it easily generates the English one, and then below is the example of the French one. You have the French quotes and the French date there. So how the citation styles are loaded is there's a repository that's just filled with like 27,000 XML files, basically, and you kind of just put those onto your server in a directory, and then specify that in your config file, and then on app start, it just will load those in, and then it will use those. So you can load as many as you want, and I kind of did it in a way so if you loaded 100 of them, it's not going to affect page load. I did it kind of asynchronously with the button and that little pop-up. So it will go fetch them after the page load, so it won't affect users that badly there. Just adds the two actions, so you can use the API as well to get a list of different citations and stuff. Right now, I don't have any of the titles translated, so you got the titles and the acronyms and the summaries. Those are just pulled from those XML files when it loads. I have a Babel extractor, so we can translate those things. And if anyone uses this, we can further translate those different titles as needed, really, and contribute that to the module. That is it. I can click the button to show you in real time. So yeah, the little pop-up, you can, the Chicago style, which we don't use in Canada, but yeah. There is some errors in the Python library, the siteproc library, which I'm working on with the developers there to fix. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Jesse. That was really, really nice. Are there any questions from anybody for Jesse? If not, I have one. So the actual value of the citation, is that actually stored on the metadata, or is that generated every time that people click the button?
It's generated every time. So on page load, it's just going to kind of JavaScript hit the Ajax, do that action API, and then it'll just grab the list. So it's every time on page load.
Cool.
That would
So you don't have to worry about getting outdated or synchronize it or whatever. Okay, that's not really nice.
Yeah, the only thing that you'd kind of have to worry about, which I guess is just a general issue with citing things on the websites everywhere, is like if the blog post or the resource gets deleted or changed, and you already cited it in your report or anything that you're citing it in, then it could be broken.
Yeah.
But that's just
that's a bigger issue, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Jesse. That was great. And let's go to our last presenter, which is Thomas. Are you ready, Thomas?
Yeah, I would try to share my screen. I just posted the repository link.
Yeah,
I hope we can.
Great.
I find the right window to share. This one should be maybe. So maybe you see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Nice. So I'm this guy. Maybe you can hear by my accent. I'm from Germany. So I'm employed in the Fraunhofer Association, and we're using CKAN for publishing scientific data sets in material science and so on. And in recent times, we also use it as a backend for RAG applications, so AI applications and so on. And when PydanticAI came out recently, I was thinking about why don't actually create chat interface for CKAN, which can actually access all the actions and URL patterns which are provided by any plugin. And that is what I came up with. So excuse the weird layout. So this is not the basic CKAN. It comes with some extensions already. And this is the chat interface I created. So this is basically Bootstrap with JavaScript and so on. And oh, what's happening? Oh, Teams. Can you still see my screen, kind of?
Yep.
Yes, you can
Yeah.
see it. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know. So Microsoft is doing weird stuff here. Also, Edge is crashing constantly. I don't know. This is what you can do. So I prepared some chats already because the integrated Azure LLM client I have here is pretty low because I have to use my company API for this. And you see, this is in German. We can also use it in English. Probably that's better. So that also comes in English. So I did at least some localization things. And what you can do is tell me about my data set. It uses the user context for also accessing stuff which is private. It can run 3 actions, actually, three different tools. Which one is the listing all the actions that are available to the CKAN. Then it can run actions. It can read the documentation string of every action. That's why it knows how to run them. And it all can run this by the user context. So I can do stuff like tell me about my data sets, and then it lists all my data sets I have here in the CKAN, which are visible for me. And all the other stuff, it uses URL patterns to create links in the output. And then you can also do more stuff. So I can ask him how that for a specific data set, he should give me all the information. So this is what he was outputting. So there's no license on this. You can see that this is a private data set. And then I was just saying some generic stuff like there's a CSV file in here. I have a plugin which is doing the semantic annotation for this and also uploads this into the data store. And I wanted to find out if I actually can access this through this chat interface. And what he provided me was a download link, which is okay. And then I was just asking him if he can retrieve the information. So and then he found, oh, okay, there is a resource show thing, but this is actually not the right one, right? So what it should do is something like data store or something, data store search probably. And he responded with the details of the resource. And then I said, oh, can you retrieve this from the store? And then actually he was getting the docstring of the data store search thing without asking explicitly for the action. Then it was running the action, so this is the output. And then it gave me this, and then I was asking for a markdown table, and that's what comes out. So actually, this is pretty cool. We also have you can update your data sets. So enriching your data sets with useful information might be easy with this tool. So I was again asking about a data set, and then I wanted it to formulate a better description and to dig into the resources which are shared, and he came up with this. So this is exactly the resources there. So there's also a Sparkle endpoint for some knowledge data which is generated in that data set. And then I was asking him for creating also some insights and tags, and then he came up with this. And then I wanted him to patch the information in, and that actually worked. So he patched it all. You have to be careful. There is in the system prompt, I embedded already that he should not update datasets even if the user is asking for this. He should always patch it, right? Because we don't want to lose all the data which is already present. And then if you have a look at what actually was done there. So here, this is the sieving thing. So this was created. So this is the text created for this. He could have done some more. We also use DCAT AP schema. Yeah. I can also show you this live, but I think my time is already up. I just wanted to say there's also other stuff we are using. So this little handy tool is creating this metadata for CSV files, which is pretty cool because then you can actually just, if you have more complex stuff, it can also annotate this all, and then you have some metadata JSON, which is using CSVW vocabulary to explain what's in there. So the table schema, delimiters, and so on, and then you can use it for filling your data store. And yeah, that's just one of the plugins. I think next time I can also join and show you some other stuff. I'm happy that maybe we have some audience for these plugins we created. So that's all.
Wow, that's really, really exciting, Thomas. I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of questions. So who wants to go first?
Just a quick one. You mentioned, Thomas, that you have a Sparkle endpoint. So I gather you're also populating a graph database as well.
Yeah.
From the data structure. Great.
I have a CKAN Fuseki application created. You need a you have the Fuseki, Jena Fuseki, which is free as a triple store here. And then you can do stuff like there is a tab here then created if you use it. And then you can pick the resources you want to upload into a graph, which actually gets the same UUID like your dataset in the backend Fuseki. And if I do this, I think, huh?
Oh, no, it's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's uploading this, so it's also using this, and then creates a Sparkle link. And there's also a pretty nice query interface. So Sparkle is actually cool because you can use the labels to form your Sparkle queries. So something like this. So which one maybe has a quality? I don't know. It has something. And then you get B nodes, and those B nodes, they should have actually a value. So all the particle values will be outputted, something like this. You can also do a Sparkle. So this is a pain normally to formulate this. But doing it like this, you have seen me, I was not prepared for this, and actually could generate a Sparkle query, which is actually a miracle for me, or for most people. Okay.
Thank you, Thomas. Coming back to the chat extension, just to clarify, what are you hooking up to power this? It's like a regular LLM provider like Azure LLM or Cloud or OpenAI, or it's like a local model?
We can have a look at the code very short if you want.
Sure, have 1 minute or two.
Yeah, I think that is enough. Actually, the code for the agent is pretty easy. The PydanticAI stuff is really powerful, and that is actually the start of that thing. It's more complicated to get all those models from CKAN translated into Pydantic models. That was more, and this lazy JSON object, which I really don't like, is also a pain in the ass. But what you actually do is you define the model by the client. So I used an Azure OpenAI client for this, but you can use any Python client actually. The PydanticAI thing is agnostic to the client type. And then there must be some agent definition here. Agent. So this is you have seen this is a system prompt. It's not very small, but you have to say what the functions are for, and so on, and give him some guidelines, and then actually it works pretty well. And this is the agent definition. So you have the model here. It has a dependency, which is the CKAN user, and then it gets a system prompt, and then you're actually ready to go. And the tools are just defined by a decorator, which is awesome. So for the URL patterns, this is actually the whole thing. We're just getting all the from the views from the global CKAN app. So for the whole stack, and then it iterates through the rules and creates a root model, which I defined as Pydantic model, base model. And that is awesome. And for the actions, it's even simpler. For running the actions, it gets more complicated because here is the user context is added here, so that the agent is aware of the user, but the model not. So the agent is passing the user context, but the Azure model deployed in Azure is not knowing about the user. And what I need to say is also all the chat, it actually is stored in the local storage of the user. So it's all in the browser. So there's nothing stored on the backend or anything. This is very puristic.
And really quickly, Alexei.
Yeah. Have you tried a local model, not a cloud one?
I tried with Ollama integration. So that works also well. So Mistral or Llama 3.2 or whatever. Actually, it must not. This is here 4.0 I used here. But the cool thing about PydanticAI is it takes care about the context awareness of the models. So you define the Pydantic models, and it can only return the stuff. The same is for the tool call here. So usually that is when you're trying to make agent frameworks and so on, that is also not very nice. You always have to create a schema for every response. And then kind of you have to choose the right framework for that actually returns good responses. And that's not funny. The MCP protocol is another step, but with as we are here in the Flask Python stack and everything is exposed in Python, we can use PydanticAI much faster.
Okay, that's really exciting, Thomas, and there's like a lot of potential here, I think. I'm pretty sure it's not the last time we'll see this, but we're running out of time, so I think we're in a good place to wrap it up. Thanks a lot to all presenters. And just before letting Joanna do the outro, just to let you know that next month we'll do the same format. So if someone felt really inspired to present their own extension, we'll circulate a form where you can register. And I hope we see lots of cool stuff like we've seen today. We need to get better at time management, but other than that, I think it was a really good session. So thanks all who presented, and thanks all for attending. And Joanna, I'll let you finish off.
Can you see my screen first?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We can see you.
Okay, good. Maybe it's better, yeah. Okay, never mind. It says closing, so use your imagination again, right?
we can see it now. We can see it now. Don't worry. We can see it
Great.
now. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a wrap. Thanks, thanks everyone. Huge thanks to all our presenters, to Oleksandr, Andrés, Joe, Michael, Jesse, and Thomas. Super cool stuff. Yeah, basically you're showing how CKAN can be extended in a very powerful ways, and it's super inspiring. And I'm sure, yeah, the conversation will continue. Special shout out to Adrian, the whole CKAN core team, for the idea, and to thanks for co-hosting. It's super nice to have help. So I really appreciate it. Thanks to Kate as well. She was helping also in the chat. Maybe we can, yeah, we can make it a tradition. Why not? It's always better when we are a team, I think. Okay, so before we wrap it up, yeah, as Andrea said, like we had many many submissions, so we couldn't make it basically a marathon of 3 hours. So there is still chance, if you want to present, there is still chance to do it next month. I'm not sure what the date was, the 3rd Wednesday of April. Basically, we're going to host another session. There is a blog post on the CKAN website. You can go there, and there is a yeah, a form. Maybe Kate is now sharing it. Yeah, if you fill out the form, the guys will contact you with further details. Okay, so few closing notes. So if you want to speak at CKAN Monthly Live, there are 2 options. Option 1, there is a form. It's available in the meeting notes document, which is pinned in the chat. So should be there, I hope. At least this. Yeah, and then option 2, just write an email directly to me. Is the slide changing? Yes. If you don't want to speak at CKAN Monthly Live, but you have a suggestion for some interesting topic, or something that you'd like to be hosted or featured, you can make a suggestion in the file. It's called Suggestions for Topics and Speakers. So drop your ideas there. Basically, these meetups are built around what the community wants. So yeah, if you're proactive, it's a good map for us, so that we know what to host and to talk about. Joel is raising a hand.
Yeah, just quickly, the reason...
No.
No, just quickly, just wanted to let you know that's why I did the ecosystem catalog preview. Is we hope to catalog all the extensions, and there will be a self-service model. So if you're a GitHub maintainer, you can use your GitHub ID to correct your metadata in the listing. So looking forward to cataloging all these great innovations just the ecosystem is creating. Thank you. Sorry about that.
It's awesome. No. Thank you for jumping in. Okay, so we have a newsletter. You can subscribe on the website, and also link is available in the meeting notes document. We're not spamming. It's only good stuff, VIP. So subscribe. You have it in your inbox. And what's next? Yeah, so if you want to get involved in some way, or you need help, or anything community related, you can go to ckan.org/community. There are plenty of links there. For example, you can join the weekly dev meetings. They're open to everyone. If you need some help, you can go to GitHub discussions and open some discussion, or you can go to Gitter. The chat is pretty active. You can connect with the community and ask any questions. And Kate is sharing the CKAN room. Thank you. And yeah, last but not least, follow us on social media. We are on LinkedIn and on Twitter. You can subscribe for our YouTube channel. We share the past sessions. So if you want to revisit the session or maybe share it with your network, all the recordings will be available there, basically, on our YouTube channel. And usually, like, we share all kinds of links in the description under the video. So yeah, you can expect the presentation slides and everything that has been mentioned, which is useful for the whole, like, for the community. You can find it there and in the meeting notes document. And I think with that being said,
I said
I think that's all.
boo to Twitter. Boo.
Okay, well,
time to go to Blue Sky.
I understand.
Ditch Twitter. No way. Go away.
Yeah, we don't like it. We don't like Elon
Yep.
anymore. Yeah. But still, some people reach there. So yeah, anyways. Okay, thank you all for joining us today.
Thanks,
See you
everyone.
we meet again. Keeps those data fires burning. Thanks for the great
Anna.
session. Interesting.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.